Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. And a happy Sunday to everyone here. And also, happy Sunday to everyone watching online, wherever you are. Some of you, I think, sleeping in this morning might have been part of your Mother's Day plan. Breakfast in bread. Breakfast in bread. Oh, I was still on last week. Forgive me. Breakfast in bed. Maybe some of you are at a Mother's Day brunch and on mimosa number 2, and you're tuning in right now. In that case, hey, still thank you for making us a part of your celebration. I'll try not to say anything that makes you choke on your waffles. Now, for those of you who showed up in person and you have made us a part of your Mother's Day, thank you very much. I am honored. Before we begin, I want to say that I know Mother's Day can be a hard day for some, for a variety of reasons. There are those who have lost their mothers. There are those who have struggled with their own relationships with their moms, those who've experienced trouble or tragedy in the process of becoming a mother or attempting to become a mother themselves. I realize that this day is not without pain for some. And if that is you, I just want to remind you that your struggle is not in vain, that you are not alone. God sees you. He hears your every prayer. I do believe that he can comfort and wipe away every tear. And should you choose, you don't have to struggle in silence or secret, okay? We want to be here to help and support you at SeaCoast however we can. Now, that being said, today, I want to let you know that we are not just here to honor just biological mothers, but to honor all of the incredible women among us and the mothering roles they play in so many lives, whether they realize it or not. So to all of the biological moms, the adoptive moms, the stepmoms, the spiritual moms, the honorary moms, and even the fur baby moms, thank you for your love and sacrifice and the joy and strength and wisdom and love that you bring to others. To all women, you are equally cherished and valued here at SeaCoast. So when we celebrate mothers today, I want you to know we are celebrating aspects of your life, your personality and contributions, whether you are officially a mother or not. So welcome to the celebration. Speaking of honoring and celebrating, our Serve team, who do a fantastic job, by the way, they do so much, they have carnations. And they have them if you would like them. For those who are mothers and mothering types, they also have carnations to honor those mothers and mothering types who have passed, to remember them on this day. So before you leave, if you'd like to, make sure you grab a carnation from the Serve team today. They'll be outside on the patio past the office as you go. All right. Obviously, Mother's Day is a day that our nation and Hallmark collectively have decided is a good day to honor mothers, and with good reason. They deserve honoring. It is safe to say that none of us would be here today if it weren't for our mothers. I'll let that sink in. Mothers do so much. They help with homework. They kiss boo-boos. They chauffeur their children around. They make meals. They throw the 4-year-old in the tub for an unscheduled bath in the middle of the day after she decides to make herself a human sugar cookie in her sandbox. Moms do a lot that they don't get credit for, or it just becomes expected. We just expect this stuff from moms, which is why we set aside this day to honor and champion and cherish what sometimes becomes routine, because that's just how great moms are. Moms do a lot. I read some statistics this week. Some of these are from the Bureau of Labor. Some of these statistics are from the National Center for Education Statistics. Some of this is from Pew Research Center, okay? But here we go. Mothers spend an average of 14 hours per week on household chores. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, removing washable marker from the toilet paper holder after the 4-year-old budding interior designer decides that the hardware would look better if it was shiny. Mothers spend an average of 6 hours per week driving their children to activities and appointments. Made all the more difficult because most moms don't have that little divider that they have in limos that they can roll up between driver and passenger. Nope, none of those. Moms have to deal with a steady stream of mom, mama, mom, mummy, mum, mamacita, mum from the back seat while somehow navigating safely through traffic and hearing the voice of a navigation system over the dulcet tones of Cocomelon songs. Mothers spend an average of 4.6 hours per week helping children with homework, 3 of which is spent getting glue from a craft project out of long curly hair. Don't ask me how I know that. Mothers spend an average of 2.7 hours per week volunteering at children's schools, which then, by the way, translates into 2.7 weeks of being sick, because there is always that one kid whose parents send them to school with snot pouring from their nostrils, drool coming out of their mouths, mucus coming from every orifice like they've contracted the T-virus from Resident Evil. By the way, teachers, you know what you're doing, right? Moms volunteer for class. It is always the moms who are paired with the group that has the sick kid in it, right? The teacher's like, all right, I'll help these perfectly healthy kids over here. And volunteer moms, if you would help Rachel, Max, and patient 0 over here. See, if my wife helps at preschool, 2 days later, she's sniffling, I now have made it into a game to guess which kid gave it to her this time. What do you have this time? Norovirus? Benfluenza? All right, moving on. This is the statistic that I read that just doesn't sound right to me. Mothers spend an average of 7 hours per week caring for their children. Thank you, that's what I said. Including activities such as playing, reading, and helping with personal care. And the reason why it doesn't seem right to me, and obviously Sue too, is because I observe my wife and daughter's interactions. I'm pretty sure it's more like 7 hours per day, okay? And none of these statistics I read really take into account the phone calls, the emails from teachers, hug breaks, cuddle sessions, snack times, spelling help, and all the things that happen not just every week, but every day if you are mothering a kid. All of that to say, being a mother is an intense gig. It is a full-time job with no pay and very little recognition for the work that gets put in. So today, mothers, we thank you, we respect you, and we salute you. For those about to mom, we salute you. Okay, for the 2 metal moms out there, I hope you appreciate it. All right. There is a reason why Exodus 20:12 lists honor your father and mother as one of the big 10, one of the big 10 commandments, right? So we're going to talk about some ways to honor moms. Then dads, by the way, don't worry, you will get your day. It's in June. Today is about moms. But I will tell you, dads, that a lot of what I'm about to say can be applied to you today as well. So you do not get permission to drift off during the service, all right? So the Apostle Paul references this command to honor moms. He talks about it in Ephesians 6. He says, children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you and you will live a long life on the earth. Now, this is a packed and loaded statement, okay? And it seems to require maybe reference, maybe some explanation, because there is some stuff that seems, I don't know, kind of general here, okay? There might be some questions that you might be asking yourself when you read this passage. First, let's take a look at this. Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. All right, some of you, hopefully not many, but some of you, you may have experienced a reality where your parents didn't tell you the right things to do. Maybe they gave you bad advice. Maybe they were not good examples to follow. And you read that and you might be saying, you sure obeying my parents blindly is the right thing to do in that case? Okay, Paul is clearly speaking in generalities here. The assumption that is implied within the context of this writing is that parents will be teaching and doing and modeling the right things for their children to follow. But I will add to this, I will tell you that some manuscripts have been found that are interpreted differently, and when you do it, they read as follows: children, obey your parents who belong to the Lord. And that adds another layer, right? Maybe it make it a little bit more sense to us. Hopefully, our parents belong to the Lord and are following Christ-like examples and behaviors and giving Christ-like advice that goes along with it. So then Paul references Exodus 20:12. He also references what immediately follows it, where it is listed as one of the 10 commandments. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you and you will live a long life on the earth. Okay. Again, important to realize that while Paul is quoting Exodus 20:12 as the first commandment with a promise, as he says, that even that promise is probably more of a proverb. It is something that is generally true, but not always true. We can always think of exceptions to these rules in our own lives, where people who honored their father and mother were taken from us too quickly, right? Now, some people will ask this question: why was honoring your father and mother tied to living a long life? Well, because, as I heard from my own mom growing up several times, your mama brought you into this world, and if you get her angry enough, she could take you out of it. See, there is a reason why the very next commandment on the list after honor your father and mother is you must not murder, okay? See, honor your father and mother, that's for the kids. Okay, you must not murder, that's for the parents who know it can be hard sometimes, right? There were a couple times when I was in middle school when I think my mom came close, touch and go for a little while. There were days that my mom looked at me and I'm pretty sure she was thinking, well, he made it to 12. He had a good run. Honor your father and mother, then you will live a long, full life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Mom could take you out. Ancient Near East was a brutal place, all right? But, okay, do you notice, though, that when Paul references this in his letter to the Ephesians offhand, he adds something. Things will go well for you, okay? But he also misses something. Paul says, honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you. That's what he adds. And you will live a long life on the earth. But Paul leaves out when Exodus 20:12 says, you will live a long, full life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. I don't want to concentrate too much on the last part. Paul says on the earth. Exodus 20:12 actually says in the land the Lord your God is giving you, clearly putting a time and date stamp on this. This was written to the ancient Israelites, the land that was being given to them, the promised land after the Exodus from Egypt. So just something to be aware of. But what I want to concentrate on is a full life. Now listen, I know some of us feel like we kind of got hosed on the deal. Maybe some of us didn't have the moms or upbringings that we would have liked. But when things work out the way that they are supposed to, when we have loving mothers or motherly figures, maternal figures in our lives, I want to tell you how honoring them leads to a full life. Now, the first thing to realize, though, is that to honor mothers takes time. To honor somebody means to esteem them with great value or respect. So to honor our mothers or motherly figures, it takes time. It takes visits where we sit down on the couch and take a load off and talk. When we share what's going on with our lives, when we listen to what's going on with theirs. When we hug one another, if we are lucky enough to still have our moms with us or our maternal figures. Where we eat mama's home cooking and compliment her on her El Dorado casserole and homemade soup. Where we take mom out to lunch or dinner so she doesn't get food poisoning from my cooking. And if we can't get in front of them to honor them in person, then calls. We can still spend time. My life is so busy. It is so much busier than I wish it was. I have so many responsibilities to so many people that I don't always get to see my parents as much as I want to. but I cherish our hour-long phone calls when I'm driving home on the freeway. I cherish our text sessions when I blow up my parents' phone with photos of Tara and whatever her latest adventure is. I'm encouraged when I call my mom and my mom says that she prays for me every day. We can honor our moms with time. Here's how that leads to a fuller life. If you have a positive relationship with your mom, Carnegie Mellon University did a study that found that people who have a positive relationship with family and friends, but especially parents, use their parents as a stress buffer, use their parents as a sounding board, and talk about their problems. This leads to a decrease in stress and also a decrease in seeking other more negative, unhealthy coping mechanisms. Here's another way that honoring our moms can lead to fuller lives. The emotional support provided by social ties, especially close family and friends, enhances your psychological well-being. Studies show that people who view their families and parents as supportive had a greater sense of meaning in life and felt like they had a stronger sense of self-worth and purpose. Spending time with our moms may also lead to both parties providing information and encouragement to live in healthier ways and to take more effective advantage of healthcare service. Here's some interesting information. We know that moms make sacrifices. In the early stages of parenthood, up through when your kids become adults, parenthood generates rewards, but it also generates stressors. Parenthood increases time constraints on the parent, produces stress, diminishes well-being, especially when children are younger. When you hear people say that moms sacrifice their good for the good of their children, their time and well-being, their life for the good of their kids, it is generally speaking true. But we have a way that we can show honor to our moms as we get older. Now, I'm pulling this section from information from the National Institute of Health, which references a ton of individual studies. Some of those studies show that adult children play a pivotal role in the social networks of their parents across the course of their lives. The effects of parenthood on health and well-being become increasingly important at older ages as adult children provide one of the major sources of care for aging adults. And receiving honor and support from adult children is beneficial for their parents' well-being. And it's been shown that providing emotional support to aging parents, while hard, can actually increase the well-being of their children. When it comes to living a full life, the preponderance of research suggests that adults who feel emotionally close to their parents and whose relationship offers mutual support exchanged in both directions, encouragement, companionship, serving, they are integral to the lives of both parents and children in times of need and in daily life. Now, beyond the science, beyond the research, just breaking it down to brass tacks, if we have the opportunity to spend time honoring parents or honoring the maternal figures in our life, and like I said, by the way, a way to honor them is just to spend time with them. It's a great place to start. Funny thing is, when you're spending time honoring your mom or maternal figures, you're probably going to be learning life lessons or being reminded of them. You're going to strengthen bonds. You swap stories of shared experiences and differences as time goes on. You create memories. When we honor moms, we cannot help but reap the benefit of a fuller life for ourselves. We can also honor moms and maternal figures with service, being willing to help when they need it, whether it is a household chore, a ride, a listening ear, or providing technical support for computer or iPhone or streaming related issues. They have served us so well, it is the least we can do to serve them in small ways and big ways when we can. Also, in another place in his letter to the Ephesians, in Ephesians 5, Paul writes something interesting. He says, "So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. And I think so often we read this and we just think of doing what the Lord wants us to do as a matter of morality, black and white. Do the good things, don't do the bad things. Avoid sin at all costs. Because that's kind of how it's drilled into a lot of us when we were kids. And sometimes it's harder to expand our thinking and our patterns as we get older. But I think the Lord does want us to make the most of every opportunity that we have. Time is the one thing that we can't get more of. We can't produce more time. We can't buy more time. We can only make the most of what we have. And life is short. No one knows how long we each have. If we have the opportunity to serve and honor our moms, we ought to make the most of those opportunities, and we'll be better off for it. That goes for the maternal figures in our lives as well. One opportunity we should never miss out on is to honor our mothers and our maternal figures with love. Now, I work in our motto here at SeaCoast, love God, love people, almost every other week, if not more. But Jesus was asked by an expert in religious law, someone not just fine, everything written as part of those traditions. He said, "Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses?" And Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments." The entire law. Everything the prophets ever said. The 10 commandments, including honor your father and mother, are based on love God and love people. We need to honor our mothers by loving them. And we can express that love in both word and deed. We can tell them how much we love them. We can thank them for their sacrifices. We can write them notes thanking them for what they've done. We can bake for them, program remotes for them, buy them gifts or take them out. And even if distance or schedule separates you from your mom or maternal figures more than you'd like, we can still find ways to show love. Recently, as a parent and as someone who's kind of acting as a caretaker for an older friend who, after 17 years, is basically adopted family at this point, I have a different perspective on things that I witnessed growing up. I didn't realize how hard some of the things my mom did were. I didn't realize how draining they could be. I didn't realize how much patience or humility or love or planning and organization things took. But I do now. And while I would love to show love to my mom by buying her a condo in Palm Springs or taking her on a cruise around the world or buying her a new car, I can't do those things. I don't have the resources to do those things. But I can show her love, thank you, by calling her up and saying, "Hey, I remember when you were taking care of Grandma and Grandpa when it was hard. And all the stuff you dealt with, all the hours it took, and I didn't realize how hard it was. And now I do. And I just want to tell you, you did a great job. You deserve the honor and the accolades. And I wanted you to know that I recognize what you've done for me and for so many others. Thank you." I can show love and honor. I can honor my mom's sacrifice. We can honor moms and the maternal figures in our lives by recognizing their sacrifice. Almost every mom sacrifices. They give up their own personal time for their kids' needs. They get up early or stay up late to meet those needs. They put their own work on hold, their own personal pleasure on hold. They make financial sacrifices. Raising kids is expensive. It is more expensive than it has ever been. They sacrifice sleep, staying up at night, wondering if their kid is okay doing whatever it is they're out doing. And I've been given this on good authority. That does not end when your child reaches 18. Moms will do that even when their kid is 47. Moms make sacrifices to make their children's lives better. And in doing so, their sacrifices made out of the love of their children point to the sacrificial love of Christ. In 1 John 3:16, we read, "We know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters, or our children, or adopted children." Jesus loved the world so much that he gave his life. He left his throne of glory in heaven to come down to earth. He was born into humility, both fully God and fully man, to teach us how to live and how to love, but also to atone for the sins of the world for those who he would call his children, his royal heirs. When Jesus went to the cross, he paid the price for all sin, past, present, and future, and he offers us long life, eternal life even, life with no end when we leave this world, in a place that he's gone to prepare for us in heaven. And he offers abundant life. That is the fullest of full lives when we make him the Lord of our life and we have a relationship with him down here. If you're here today and you'd like to have that gift of eternal and abundant life today, or you're watching, by the way, you know that's probably what your mom would want for you, okay? If you've never made it official and you would like to make Jesus the Lord of your life and follow him right now and learn to love God and love people even better, would you just pray this prayer right after me? Dear Lord Jesus, I know that I'm a sinner. I know I've done wrong things. Please forgive me of my sins. Lord, right now I ask you to be my personal Savior. Be the Lord of my life. Lord, help me to turn from my sins and follow you. I thank you for dying on the cross for my sins, and I thank you for rising again on the third day and taking those sins away. Thank you for saving me, and thank you for preparing a place for me up in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen. If you just prayed that prayer, I would love the opportunity to encourage you, to help you in any way I can. I know SeaCoast feels the same. If you're looking for next steps, if you've got questions, I would even just love to encourage you and pray for you as you start this new exciting journey. So if you prayed that prayer today, would you come up after service and let me know? And even if you didn't pray that prayer, if there's some other way that we can be helpful to you, we will try, because that's what we want to be, an Acts 2 church. So come and see me after the service, or if you're not on campus, or you got to get out of here because it's Mother's Day, you got to make it to brunch, you got to beat the rush, or even if you just prefer a different way, you can always email me. My email is josh@seacoastredondo.com. Thank you for joining us today. Before I let you go, I've got an epilogue that I thought was interesting. Just something to chew on, something to talk about over whatever you've got planned for Mother's Day. You remember where Exodus 20:12 said, "Honor your father and mother, then you will live a long, full life"? Right. Well, come to find out, honoring your mom and having a good relationship with her might actually lengthen your life. According to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, the National Library of Medicine, the American Society of Aging, the Annals of Behavioral Medicine, a division of the Society of Behavioral Medicine, and ScienceDirect.com, the more relationships you have with family that are positive, including with moms, lead to having better episodic memory, better cognitive function, lower allostatic load, which is the wear and tear on the body and brain from being stressed, and it's actually good for cardiovascular health. If you have a positive relationship with your mom or a maternal figure, parents, family in general, during difficult times, those who had a mom by their side had a lower pulse or blood pressure. I will leave you with one more interesting fact from a study from Science Direct on love and longevity. And you follow me on this because we got a lot of scientific jargon here. Quote, "The neuroendocrine substrates of caregiving and the biological systems that promote long-term health converge on oxytocin." That is called the love hormone. It's a type of hormone in your body that promotes positive feelings. The expression of care, particularly maternal care, via oxytocin may account for some of the variation in longevity in mammals, we specifically hypothesized that the expression of the mammalian caregiver phenotype, mediated in part by oxytocin signaling throughout the brain and body, is a key life history factor in establishing long-term health and eventual longevity. Maybe there is something to that general promise after all. So, in that case, may you honor your father and mother and the maternal figures in your life, especially on Mother's Day. And may you live a long and full life. Mad respect and love and honor to you mothers out there. Love you, Ma. Thank you for still being a great mom to this day. Love you, wifey poo. You are a great mom to our daughter. Honor mothers and maternal figures. Call your mom if you can. God bless you. Happy Mother's Day.